Red Raider basketball moves up to number 11 this week. You're watching Double T Insider. I'm Taylor Peters alongside Robert Giovanetti. Gio, a big victory for Texas Tech over Arkansas Pine Bluff, but now, of course, they focus their attention on a huge matchup, a potential top 10 matchup against Duke next weekend. Just in the middle of next week, they play against Duke in Madison Square Garden. It's supposed to be a great crowd. They're expecting a sold-out Madison Square Garden. Really set up nicely for what this team's trying to accomplish. And it means a lot for this team. Of course, it means a lot for Coach Beard, but it just means a lot for Texas Tech University, too. To get that kind of exposure, anytime Duke's playing on a nationally televised stage like that, a lot of eyeballs going to be turned towards that. So it is a great opportunity for this program. Yeah, but Texas Tech last week, of course, as we mentioned, defeating Arkansas Pine Bluff here at home. Another game we're seeing some of the familiar faces in Matt Mooney and Jarrett Culver, who's just been so incredibly consistent for this group this year. The thing I took away from that game was Coach Beard's demeanor after the game. Wasn't happy. Won a non-conference game by double digits, but that wasn't enough for him, and he wants to see more out of these guys. I know he's been preaching that in practice going forward, that, hey, we can't rest on what we've done. We've got to keep getting better and getting better, and he wasn't satisfied with that game last week, so we'll see a better effort, I believe, from the Red Raiders this week. And I think that's something he would have liked to see as a faster start, right? And so Texas Tech has kind of taken a little bit to get going recently, and what do you feel like is going to need to happen for this group to be able to come out and get a fast start and then to come back in the second half and play as well as they have been? And he's mentioned that a lot of times, especially playing Duke and then what we're going to see in the Big 12. You've got to play a full 40. You can't just say, hey, we're going to turn it on for the final 20 or 30 minutes, however they do it. So I think, obviously, we're seeing them a better conditioned, a stronger physical team late in the games, but I think they're going to have to take that mentality and right from the tip. Tariq Owens would have 9 points, and he's just been another guy who's been really outstanding for Texas Tech. Of course, a grad transfer comes in with a lot of experience, and we'll hear from him later on in the show, but he has just been huge. I think what we've seen from Tariq, we all knew what he'd done at St. John's, what he could bring to this program. I'm just not sure that any one of us, I know Coach Beard probably did, could see him fitting in and being this effective this early. And Coach Beard really prides himself on creating a developmental program here at Texas Tech, and of course it starts in the weight room as soon as those players get on campus with strength and conditioning coach John Riley.
It's infectious. It doesn't happen in one day.
Being the best isn't for everybody.
What are you doing routinely every single day?
You gotta want it, and at the end of the day, there's no secret. It's hard work. That's really all it is.
Coach Beard, the intensity that he brings at practice, in meetings, anytime you meet him, that's just who he is. And then from there, the guys just see it. That's all they know. If I'm not bringing energy, I'm not being my best.
Coach Riley, he just transformed my body, not just my body, but my mind, and put that 4-to-1 mentality on myself.
Coach Riley is amazing. They've done so much for me already in the short period of time that I've been here.
I like Tariq's story. Came in at, think about it, 6'10", 181. Within 4 to 5 weeks, he put on 24 pounds. But literally, I could show any player on our team, they have transformed their bodies. Everybody has transformed their body, and that's what I really like the most, is that everybody has a story, and everybody has had goals, and they're reaching them.
Coach Beard talks about Coach Riley being the best strength coach in the country, and his energy is contagious.
And it's really the process, the consistency. That's really the big message I give the guys. Toughness is consistency. Consistency is the difference from winning and losing. The player that remembers the most on a daily basis, from hour to hour, from minute to minute, from second to second, there are those that they're relentless. Those are the tough ones. I really do have the best job in the country. From competing, winning, and serving, that's the trifecta for me.
And you see the growth and development in a guy like Tariq Owens, who comes in with a 39-inch vertical. Now he's almost at a 43. It's just incredible. And obviously Coach Riley's been a big part of that, but it's his entire staff and the freedom that Coach Beard has allowed them to have. Coach Beard has turned the reins over to Coach Riley and his group to say, hey, do what you need to do to get these guys better. We've seen it throughout. Tariq's just one example of what these guys have done. And we've got Tariq here on set with us. Coming up right after the break, we'll talk to him about Coach Riley and about his transition here to Texas Tech. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on Double T Insider.
Double T Insider is brought to you in part by Plains Capital Bank. Bank with confidence. The Red Raider Club. Your support, their effort, our fearless champions. Texas Farm Bureau. Register today for your chance to deliver the game ball and receive a VIP experience at a Texas Tech home football game. Contest details available at texastech.com.
Just want to see him
play better and better here down the stretch. There's an alley-oop dunk. That's one way to do it. Tariq Owens from Matt Mooney with the tomahawk.
Welcome back into Double T Insider. I'm Taylor Peters here with senior grad transfer Tariq Owens. Tariq, welcome to the studio. You are somebody who has come in and your transition to Texas Tech has really just seemed seamless. What would you say are some of the biggest challenges that you've had coming in, playing at this level, of course, from St. John's?
The biggest would probably be, you know, just getting adjusted to, you know, having a new teammates, new coaching staff, the new system, and just really learning how they do things here. Coach has a process, so just getting acclimated to that in the everyday process and doing everything the right way.
And you just play with such confidence too, and you're so much fun to watch just because you kind of know who you are and you know what your game is and you know what you're bringing to the court. What difference do you feel like the freedom that you have in your game has made and just the success that you've been able to have on the court this year?
I think it's made a big difference so far. You know, Coach Beard just, like you say, he gives me that confidence and, you know, just go out there and just have fun. So it makes it easier, you know, to go out there and play free and play relaxed and just do what you know you work on every single day. So.
When Coach was really intentional about going out and getting some guys who had some experience at this level, and he obviously came back with you and Matt Mooney and just the difference that you guys have been able to make. What has allowed for both of you to come in and to be able to play such an immediate role for this group?
Really, I say our teammates. Since day one, since I've got here, the team has just always talked to me and told me like, hey, we need you to be a leader here. We need you to do X, Y, and Z. And so that just made it a lot easier, you know, because in order to lead people, you know, you need people to accept you. So I've always felt accepted since I got here, since day one. So that was a big thing for me, just knowing that I had their backing.
I love to be able to talk to Coach Riley about you and just the natural abilities that you have. But, I mean, whenever you came in, I remember during the summer, and Coach Riley and I talked, and he said, this is a kid that can just, gosh, jump out of the gym, and you just had such ability. But he kind of helped to develop you even further. What role do you feel like the weight room and what Coach Riley and his strength staff have done, what role has that played in what you've been able to do this year on the court?
His strength staff, himself, that's probably been the biggest thing for me. I've always needed that since I've gotten into college. It's always been he's too small. He needs to gain weight and put on weight. And Coach Riley, he's really done that. He's done everything that I've needed him to do, him and his staff. They developed my body. They have me moving better than I've ever moved. So, you know, big shout out to Coach Riley because he's really got me to the point that I am with my body right now.
And now you guys are obviously in a position to go and face off against an incredible team in Duke on a stage like Madison Square Garden. Of course, Texas Tech was able to play there last year, but what does an opportunity like this at this type of venue mean to you and just really mean to Texas Tech basketball?
It means a lot to the program, to the coaches, and to us as a team. You know, it's just a big year for us. And so, you know, playing a game like that and, you know, where we're at right now is just a big matchup. And it's just a game where we feel like we can prove ourselves and really stamp on everything that we've done so far. And it'll really boost us going into conference play. So it'll just do so much for our program. And, you know, it's going to be a good matchup, you know, big game. Madison Square Garden, the mecca of basketball. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun, and we're going to enjoy getting a chance to watch all you guys play. But you mentioned it there, the opportunity that allows for you guys to just kind of get ready in this last push before conference play. Can you just elaborate a little bit more on that and how being able to expose yourself in this team to that type of competition, how it prepares you to face off against the Big 12?
It prepares us a lot because the Big 12 is such a big conference, and the teams in the Big 12 have so much talent and everything that they do. So, you know, just a game like that really shows us what we need to work on and things that we're great at or things that just need to get better because Duke has a lot of talent, a lot of young talent, guys who can really play. So.
Tariq, you're so much fun to watch. All of you guys are, and best of luck to you as you head off and face off, of course, against Duke and then for the rest of the season.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Tariq. Stay with us. We'll be right back on Double T Insider. Welcome back into Double T Insider. A historic weekend coming up for Texas Tech men's basketball as they will have the final game in the old Coliseum. We call it the old Coliseum here on campus, but a lot of history in that building.
Certainly, so many memories. We've heard Coach Beard talk about it. I'm a lot older than you, Taylor. I remember seeing Rick Bullock play there, Mike Russell playing there. Bubba Jennings was a contemporary of mine when I was in college. Bubba was the player. We used to stand outside to wait to get into the game so we get our seats on the baseline. It's just so many great memories of the Coliseum. Saw my first concert there, Foreigner.
Wow.
So it's a lot of great memories. Coach Beard talked about some of the artists he's seen play there at the Coliseum. Obviously, a lot of memories in that building, and let's hope we send it out with a bang.
Yeah, and it's cool to be able to talk to Coach Beard about how intentional he is of getting those former players back here on campus, and like we've talked about, blending the generations of Texas Tech basketball. So it's really meaningful for him to be able to have his current players play in the place where such history has taken place.
Coach Beard is a firm believer in the past and building up the past. Coach Dickey, he loves bringing up Coach Dickey being one of the better coaches he's ever worked with, and Coach Dickey will be here. Coach Dickey came last year. His team in 95, 96 was one of the best teams ever to play here. So a lot of great memories, a lot of great hoops memories, but other memories there as well.
Gerald Myers, of course, here works with us on campus,
Yes.
but he played there in that Coliseum. He coached there in that Coliseum, and Coach Chris Beard talked to him last week about just the significance of what this weekend means.
Coach, we're here in the old Coliseum. I know you have so many great memories here over the years. Tell me about the first basketball game ever played here.
Well, first, I want to say the reason I came to Texas Tech was because of this building. I mean, this was a second-to-none facility back in the mid-50s when it was being built, and that was a big reason that I chose Texas Tech. And it was a great place to play. That first game we played Kansas State and Tex Winters, who was a great coach, as you know. He had a great team that year. They went to Final Four. This Coliseum was packed. First game, they beat us 90-84. They had a great team. we weren't great, but we played hard and played them pretty good. It was just really a great experience and a great way to start, because we felt we always had a good advantage when we played here. We always had great crowd and boisterous crowds, rowdy crowds.
Coach, I knew I grew up watching your teams play here, both on television, came to a couple games in person. You used to throw your coat a lot off. Coach, you take off your coat and you throw it all the time. I was looking around today to see if your old jackets were around, but what's your best memory of getting thrown out of a game here, Coach?
In 1956, the first year we played SMU, they ranked #2 in the nation, and we beat SMU here on last second shot by Chuck McKee, and so we upset them. They were #2. And then years later, we played them when Bliss was coaching. Tony Benford made a shot right at the end of the game to beat them in that one. So we had 2 big wins against SMU when they were rated #2.
Coach, I know everybody talks about Bubba Jennings, maybe the best shooter to ever play at this school. But did Bubba play any defense on this court, or was it just all offense, Coach?
Well, surprisingly, Bubba was a better defensive player than you might think. He was usually the smallest guy on the court, about 5'10", but he knew how to anticipate. He knew how to position. He had good footwork, and he was not just an awful defensive player.
Coach, so many great memories here at Texas Tech Red Raider basketball. I'm so glad that you're going to be a part of the last basketball game ever. It'll be Saturday, 6 o'clock tip-off against a really good ACU team, a team that'll be, I think, 9-1 when they come in here, one of the best teams they've had in recent history. Looking forward to all the fans coming out. 6 o'clock Saturday, the last game ever in this great historical building against Abilene Christian.
We've talked about the history for the men's program, but gosh, so much for the women too. Cheryl Swoops played there, and she actually said one of the highlights of her life and her career was being able to win the Southwest Conference Championship in that old Coliseum.
That's crazy. I remember that game. They beat Texas A&M to win the Southwest Conference. Marcia Sharp won a national championship playing out of that very building. So again, we talked about it on the men's side. Just so many great memories there.
You can go online to get your tickets for that throwback game this weekend at TexasTech.com. We'll talk more Lady Raider basketball coming up after the break on Double T Insider. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hayden on the right-hand side. Back to Sydney, left open. 3 on the way. Bingo!
Welcome back into Double T Insider. We've talked so much about the difference of Coach Marlene's offense than what we've seen in the past, and just the emphasis that she puts on being able to shoot the 3 ball. And so when you have players like Sydney Goodson, who transferred, of course, from Arizona State and set out last year, we're finally able to see her. She has just made a huge difference for that group this year.
her offense is predicated on getting out, getting on the move, and then being able to spread the floor a little bit and shoot the threes. And she's going to recruit players and keep players that are able to do that.
Yeah, and I like Sydney too because she just has such a presence on the court. She has a high IQ. Coach Marlene trusts her to be able to make good decisions, and that's what we've been able to see her do. But Erica Sidney is a junior college transfer. Coach Marlene wanted to go out and get as much experience as she could, and she found a player like Erica Sidney to come in, and she's just really played fearless this year.
You know, we don't want to forget that Coach Stallings just had a little bit of time in the spring to be able to get some players in, and so I think we'll see some of that in the future recruiting classes, that the kids can really shoot, kids that can really move and really get out there and transition.
And before they get into conference play, a lot of these games, it's really important for these players to really be building confidence and to be able to get confident in Coach Marlene's system, and for Coach Marlene to become more confident in who they are and in their role.
And we're watching that every game. They progress each game. You can see they're learning a little bit more and understanding what she wants to do.
But again, a really different offense than what we've seen in the past, and these two players have really provided a big spark for the Lady Raiders this year.
Dream as big as you can, and don't let anyone tell you that you can't.
Nobody outside of our team knows really what's going on. I think it's hard to win if you don't have teammates like that.
The transfer from Arizona State, the product out of Argyle, Liberty Christian, pump fake, up, around, fade away, got it.
I think there's definitely freedom. I mean, I think Coach M lets us play within our skill sets. I think that's really cool to play for, you know, especially like an offensive-minded coach like that. Like, that's exciting, you know, like, all right, let's score the ball. Like, let's get the ball in the basket and let's play hard defense to create offensive opportunities.
Deep wing Sydney, quick three, Erica rolls out, back in.
I ended up going JUCO, which I'm happy that I made the decision. Felt like me and Coach M had a special bond because she went out on a limb and she trusted and believed in me. That bond is what built my confidence.
She's a total spark for us. She's smiling out there. She can just tell like she's like living her dream and loving it.
A lot of people where I'm from, they don't really make it out and go to college and stuff, so I feel like that was something special for me. You know, I had like the city behind me. I just followed my dream and kept going.
I think we're gonna have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I think we're a little bit unsure about how that feels or how to push past that wall. And the coaches talk about it, Coach Ralph talks about it, but for us to like physically do it, I think once we figure that out, I think we're gonna be really good.
Lady Raiders are back in action this weekend. Still to come on Double T Insider, we'll let you know what else is happening in Texas Tech athletics this week.
Double T Insider was brought to you in part by Plains Capital Bank. Bank with confidence. The Red Raider Club. Your support, their effort, our fearless champions. Texas Farm Bureau. Register today for your chance to deliver the game ball and receive a VIP experience at a Texas Tech home football game. Contest details available at texastech.com.
Welcome back into Double T Insider. A big weekend for junior outside receiver Antoine Wesley. In the same day, he's named first-team All-American, and he declares for the 2019 draft. What a huge week for that young man and a huge career here at Texas Tech.
You know, we saw that with Pat and Kiki.
Yes.
That you're happy, you're sad for us, right? Because we lose them and want to see him come back for another year. But he's doing what's right for him and his family, and so looking forward to see what happens to Antoine.
Yeah, you hate to see him go, but really excited to watch the future for that young man. But you can watch coverage of the 2019 signing day on Wednesday, December 19th at 10 o'clock. That will be broadcasted live on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Tech men's basketball will host Northwestern State tonight, Wednesday, December 12th at 6:30 before turning their attention to Abilene Christian in the throwback game this weekend. Tip-off at 6 o'clock.
Meanwhile, the Lady Raiders are finished with finals. They'll go on the road Saturday at Nevada and then come back next Tuesday. Put your headphones on. It'll be loud in there. It's Education Day. They'll host Southern at noon next Tuesday.
That's all our time for now. Thanks so much for joining us today on Double T Insider. For Robert Giovanetti, I'm Taylor Peters. We'll see you next week.